Oh hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Gray Media. This is Josh here. I'm checking in on you out there in YouTube land. You know the drill, it's Wednesday. Happy hump day to you and yours. Tonight we're talking about a film that I just got in from themovieroom.com. Proud partner of mine, proud sponsored affiliate. If you love The Movie Room or you haven't given them a try, you need to go to themovieroom.com right now. Use my code BEYOND10, all capitals. Get yourself a good deal. Excellent people over there, excellent partnership. Love everything that they do. And they were kind enough to send me this brand new title to review that's been out on Scream Factory before, but this is the brand new Imprint Films. And listen, we got to talk about Imprint for a second. Just get this out of the way. Imprint is kind of known for being a premium label. They're an overseas label. And they do a lot of kind of exclusive big box sets that are a little bit more expensive, but they do a fantastic job. If packaging is your thing, I don't know if you get much better than Imprint or Umbrella. And that's what we're showing off tonight. We're talking about the brand new 4K and Blu-ray from Imprint Films, The Sword and the Sorcerer from 1982. All you 80s kids out there that grew up with this film, check this thing out. Lenticular Slit. We're just gonna give it a second, okay? Back cover, The Sword and the Sorcerer. Before we break this thing open, thanks for being here. Let's talk about the film itself. Now, the film itself, if you're not a fan of sword and sorcery films, well, we're talking Beastmaster, right? We're talking about Excalibur, Deathstalker. There's tons of them. Red Sonja. There's a whole bunch that I grew up watching that I really, really love. But they're not for everybody. They usually are fantasy films. They usually are kind of medieval in scope. There's a wizard. There's an evil character. There's usually scantily clad men or women. A lot of nudity usually. Excessive violence, and Conan's also huge. Kroll. There's so many of them that were a big deal when I was growing up. But there's kind of an upper echelon tier, I guess I should say, for some of the sword and sorcery movies. And for whatever reason, because of how well it's made, because of the acting, because of the soundtrack that fucking slaps, brother, The Sword and the Sorcerer is one of the upper echelon films in the sword and sorcery genre. So this has to do with a fella, and there's kind of this war going on, right, in this land that we're kind of dropped into with this crazy music, and we've learned about this character named Talon, and he is a daring mercenary who conquers castles and dungeons alike with his lethal three-bladed sword. It's badass. That's all you need to know. There's his sword. Let the camera kind of zoom in for a second, okay? He's the prince of a kingdom controlled by an evil sorcerer and is thrust into the wildest fight of his life. That's kind of the backstory. There's also some witchcraft. There's also some kind of voodoo, some mysticism. And what happens is there's this one army that wants to defeat this other army and conquer, and they summon up this devil. They conjure up this spirit that ends up kind of being like our main boss there on the cover. And it's fucking badass. It's fucking badass. And for my money, there's only a few that are better than Conan and, some of those other kind of classic films like this. I still think that Excalibur is kind of like the pinnacle of these films, but this is probably in the top 3 or 4, Sword and the Sorcerer. Like I said, the soundtrack is so good, and it's really, really loud here. It's crystal clear. This film right here, The Sword and the Sorcerer, comes complete with Dolby Vision. And if we're going to talk about how it looks, I'm going to say that the last time I watched this film, I feel like I was 7 or 8 years old. And I watched it on VHS. This is a major upgrade from that VHS. I didn't have it on Blu-ray. I know Scream Factory's put it out. And if you're used to seeing that, or even the Via Vision one, this takes those transfers and it kind of beefs it up a little bit. It's still got some grain. This is an older movie. But the colors, I think, is really what pop. I wouldn't say the blacks or the sharpness of the film. I would say that the colors are super rich, but I don't really remember it except for how staticky and bad it looked on VHS. So this is a big time upgrade for me, especially from how I remember it. The movie itself is pretty fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a cheesy fantasy movie. If you've seen it, then you know. And to see it in 4K, looks pretty damn good. There's going to be gray, not as bad as something like Dead and Buried, which a lot of people had a hard time with getting past those opening scenes that are super blurry, but you gotta let the movie kind of get past the opening shots and start to zoom in on characters and show you some of those crazy fantasy elements, and then this movie kind of shines. That's what I'll say. Pretty decent movie, really cool box, and excellent soundtrack. So yeah, here's the box, and on the inside you get this steelbook, which just has that fantasy cover art. I mean, Frazetta themed, right? It is so impressive to hold. That's your outside of the steelbook. Okay, look at that picture that it makes. And then on the inside, I'll try to get it under the light. You've got Talon, our main guy here, and then you got 2 discs. So you got the Blu-ray disc that's got every single Scream Factory feature, all the Via Vision. It's got everything, and then there's the prince that wants to take over and hire the evil sorcerer. So Steelbook's incredible looking. It's like, it's not necessarily embossed, but it looks really sharp. Even better though from Imprint Films is this poster. I'm gonna sit way back, take a few extra steps back, like the saying Joe Dirt. This needs to go on the wall. This needs a mount. This needs to be framed up. So here is it's so big, like what she said. It's that big. It's impressive. So there's the back cover, and then this is the beautiful poster art, and this is not cheap. This is like heavy duty paper. I'm gonna frame this. I'm gonna put it out in my garage because I feel like it just makes me feel like I'm a kid, like working on a Z28 and smoking pot. Like that's kind of what this reminds me of. Excellent poster. Really cool release from Imprint Films and the movie room. I absolutely love it. The steelbook is probably the coolest steelbook that I own, next to The Fog and maybe They Live. That's how cool that steelbook looks. And there's so many special features. There's hours and hours of special features in the disc. I didn't even get into it. I am curious to see how the Scream Factory looks compared to this, but I feel like it's pretty much the same transfer. So if you're a fan of that and you really like this lenticular slip, this thing right here hauls the mail all day long. That's what Imprint does. They are the collector's market, and I'm super stoked to have this in my collection. So thank you, the movie room, for sending it over. Again, that code is Beyond10, all caps. Get yourself 10% off. You deserve it. Okay, do you know what's going on in the world right now? Did you fight about the halftime? Just kidding. But no, collect movies, watch your favorite movies, and there's nothing better than to collect the best versions of them and just treat yourself once in a while. So for all you guys out there, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, talk some shit down there. And until next time, I'm working on my movie room. Literally, I just put together a shelf that holds 1,000 Blu-rays, and I thought that was going to do it. So this is a little prequel. Okay, just a little tease. I built a shelf last night that my wife's like, that's going to take 4 hours to build because it was over 100 pounds. She's like, and you're not going to get all those movies off of there. It's going to take all day. There's going to be stuff. I'm like, no, I got this, babe. I've been so excited to wait a week and a half for it to get here. So I build this shelf last night, right? I go in the living, and I build this motherfucker. And I take it into the guest room and I start cleaning. And I probably should have backlit it first. Like I made some mistakes because I was kind of in a hurry. And I took all of my movies off of because I got 2 of those Atlantic Oscar shelves that each hold probably 500 Blu-rays, maybe a little more, but they were just kind of falling apart, and I just wanted them together. It just didn't look very sharp. I didn't have enough space to it was hard to fit them all, basically. So I bought this shelf that holds 1,000 titles, and I took all of my horror movies that were like literally going up into the wall, right? And then I had a stack on the bottom, and some of these are big chunky box sets that just I don't know what to do with. So I went through alphabetically, and I started Scream Factory, and I kind of went through everything. And I got done with my shelf in the living room, and I ran out of space. So I put 700 movies on there, and then I started going at the top, right? I'm going to need another one because I've got studio releases on the other wall that's probably 500 or 600, couple hundred tapes. I got like 40 VHS tapes right here that I look at just kind of for inspiration, just because they look cool out here. I'm going to need another one of those 1,000 Blu-ray shelves, and I thought that maybe I was around 1,200, maybe. I think it's way worse than that. I think it's way worse than that. So pray for me, whatever you're into. Yeah, take care of yourselves. Until next time, I'm going to record a video in there kind of going over everything and just give you guys a lay of the land. I'm going to try to start filming some stuff in there once in a while too, because for whatever reason, people think that if you got movies behind you, you know what you're talking about. This is an 80s dream. And sometimes I know what the hell I'm talking about. So love you. Take care.